episode, I'll be talking about cleaning up your past. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because cleaning up your past is so important. And has there ever been a time where you feel like there's something that you cannot let go? And that certain thing that you couldn't let go, maybe you were totally unaware of it. Maybe you were unaware of the fact that there was something holding you back. And if that's you today, I suggest listening up because this is going to be helpful information. I learned a lot from Julian himself, so I would encourage you guys to go check him out too if you guys are interested. But anyways, I do these YouTube lives every Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Saturdays at 12 p.m. Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. And if you guys do find this video content of value, you guys should show your appreciation by donating any amount that you feel is equal to the value of this video. The details will be in the description, and have Patreon on there as well. Whatever you guys like, but anyways, I'll always start out with a recap episode. So the recap episode that I'll be talking about today is why we self-sabotage. And that's something that it's concerning. It's like, why do we do this to hurt ourselves? Why is it so important that we feel like we're stuck in a certain situation, right? And if you're here, hear me out. So, and then I'll have 4 slides I'll be talking about. All right. So now, why we self-sabotage? Okay. Self-sabotage leads to feelings of vulnerability. What's up, Darlene? Welcome. Hello. Self-sabotage leads to feeling of vulnerability, right? And how do people view vulnerability? And they view vulnerability as one thing that's bad. That's not good. Like, oh, you're showing too much. If other people see it, it's like, well, they could take advantage of you. Well, here's the truth. If you put up all your walls, you will never get out of that comfort zone. But if you put it down to the wrong people, then you're putting yourself in a situation where they could take advantage of you. Some people look at that and look at you as prey and be like, oh, that person's vulnerable, I could take advantage of that, right? Now, part of what you guys are learning over here is to learn how to screen people out of your life and have the good people in your life, because that's very important. Now, you don't always want to share good news with certain people, whether it's friends or family, and you also don't want to share bad news with them too. Okay, and there's a reason for that. And I have episodes on that too as well if you guys are interested. But leading self-sabotage, feelings of vulnerability, and what is the experience you have with being vulnerable? Like, was there ever a time in your life where you felt like opening up, and when you did, how did it go? Was there a certain time where like you were vulnerable and then someone was just making fun of you? Did they laugh at you? Were they calling you like, oh, you're just being weak, or like, oh, you're just being too soft? Because certain acts like that, certain type of conversations like that will pull you back. Like, I don't ever want to be vulnerable anymore. I don't ever want to be vulnerable, because if I do that, it's only gonna remind me of that time of when I was vulnerable, and then people made fun of me. But I'm here to say, and I'm here to encourage you to be vulnerable, but with the right people. And if you're not sure, you have yourself. And with yourself, you can learn to educate yourself. Yeah, I had a lot of bad experience. Same here. I hear from TikTok. Thank you. And I had a lot of bad experiences when it came down to being vulnerable, because I was like, well, if I show my true color, not my true colors, but like that's something that is close to my heart. But if I show it, then it's like, oh, he's just weak. Oh, he's being this type of guy. Oh, he's over dramatic. Oh, he's too sensitive. And I was like, it got me thinking like, okay, I just don't want to share it anymore. Well, guess what? I held it in and it didn't do me any good. Hi, Shevelin. I held it all in. It didn't do me any good. Now, the only thing that I did that worked the most in my favor was I started reading books. I started educating myself. I started learning. And I stopped putting blames onto other people. And I no longer take it personal when what they did to me was in the past. I have to learn to let that go. But how do I move forward with that in my life so that I could become more vulnerable? Well, guess what? I'm surrounded by friends that I trust, and I'm surrounded by people that I love, and they love me too, and I love them back. And we always have a good time. And when there's something that's going on, they'd be like, "Hey Mitchell, like, hey yo, you mind if I tell you something?" I'll be like, "Yeah, sure." They're like, "Hey, what's going on? What's bothering you?" And they would tell me. And when they tell me, I'm like, "Well, do you like I'm not sure sometimes. So I'm like, do you want me to just hear, like, listen to you, or do you want me to give you feedback? What do you want?" And they'd be like, well, and sometimes they'd be like, I want feedback, and sometimes I just need an ear, and I'm like, good. Then I know exactly, because this communication, right? And when they feel vulnerable, and I'm like, look, that's not easy. That isn't easy, right? Just like what happened on TikTok earlier too. Someone opened up, and that's not something that is easy for a lot of people. And and also thank you if you're watching this, because it takes a lot of courage, right? Well, vulnerability, it takes a lot of courage to be vulnerable. And then once you're vulnerable, you're allowing yourself to build off of that. Then you could start to learn to understand yourself, because the best relationship you could ever have is the relationship that you have with yourself. And then when you have a good relationship with yourself, everyone else around you is going to have a better time, because you're not always upset. You're not always this bitter person. You're always cheerful, right? You see the light in things. You see the cup half full. And when things don't go your way, you kind of like, you know what? It's okay. I just don't need to be around this person. Hi, Jada. And you're just like, yeah, I just don't need to be around this person. I just don't need to be around this person no more. And that's okay, because I understand that there's I won't ever have everybody liking me, and I'm okay with that. I much rather have good people and good company, right? Because good company, it should be easy and effortless. You're supposed to have fun, because that's what I feel like life is. You're not there to always be too damn serious, but you could take yourself serious, but just don't take life too serious. So do pursue that all that you want. Take that serious. But when it comes to having a good time, enjoy that process, because you know there's going to be way more bad days than there are good days, okay? So, I know I went on a tangent about being vulnerable, but that's what it is. You want to be able to open up, at least for yourself, right? Learn how to press those buttons. And so you're going to be learning a lot about that today too, okay? Um so so does being vulnerable mean that you're weak? And a lot of people get this idea of, oh, if I'm vulnerable, I'm weak. That's not it. You being weak meaning I've admitted I've lost and I can't get any better. I suck. And your chances are, from getting out of I'm already weak, you most likely is like, what's the point? I already lost that battle. What's the point of fighting it? And that's where most people operate from. But when you're vulnerable, you're like, hey yo, there's certain things that that I'm not sure of, and I want to be better, and I just need to ask the right questions to the right people, because the quality of your life is in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that you consistently ask yourself and other people, right? Same thing in a relationship. If you ask good questions in a relationship, then you could find answers. And when you could find or spot the problem or the obstacle or the circumstance, whatever it may be, and then you could solve that problem by asking right questions. And if you don't know where to start, a good way is like, oh, what, how, why, right? Those are good questions to start. Like, oh, like what. So if you think you did something wrong in a relationship, oh, uh did I do something wrong? And then of course, when you're in, this is a little tip, okay, for you guys, but try not to use the word you in that relationship. You make me feel like this. Like, when you do this, I feel like this. So it puts it back on you yourself, right? Or when you do this type of thing, I feel like, and it makes me feel like you don't care. So it's not too direct, because look, I get it. It's 2020. A lot of people get offended easily, all right? So, but it's building that emotional resilience so that you don't lose yourself in that process, and you want to get to the bottom of it so you can solve that question. It's really important, all right? Reason for self-sabotage might be because, here's the thing, maybe you're in a relationship and you're lonely, right? And going back to that ex or whatever, going back to that ex, or maybe finding a reason to reconnect is easier. It's easy because you're already comfortable with that, right? But you also have to understand, like, there's a reason why you broke up in the first place. What makes you think 2 months is going to change anything? But here's a psychological phenomenon where there's this thing called fading effect bias. And if you're not sure about it, I encourage you guys to Google it and learn about that. So basically, fading effect bias in layman's term is after a certain period of time, usually is maybe a few days, maybe a few weeks, or even a month, what you feel about that person, the negative feelings starts to diminish. So the positive feelings for that person seems to amplify. I don't know if you guys experienced this, but if you were ever in a relationship and you guys broke up, did you feel like, oh, that person wasn't that bad? And it's because the negative feelings that you had for that person kind of simmered down. You're like, it's not that bad. There's a lot of good things that they did. So it seems like it's being amplified. So that's fading effect bias. So that's why you see a lot of people, right? Makeup sex or whatever, right? Like there's so many things. But that's just kind of like the layman's term. Check it out, fading effect bias, okay? Also, another one of self-sabotage is the uncertainty, right? You're not sure, right? And that's one of the 6 basic human needs. It's for certainty, and we're unsure of it. So maybe the uncertainty of maybe no one will ever love me again. Maybe no one will ever love me. So then it's better to go back to what's already there and what I'm comfortable with, right? Then you start ignoring the reality. And those who's familiar with this work is you can ignore reality, but you cannot ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. So there's going to be consequences when you ignore certain red flags that maybe your partner has, right? Creating false stories, right? Another sign of ignoring reality. You start projecting onto this other person, like, oh, this person is so much better, or like they could do no wrong, right? You're projecting onto them. They call that positive projection. I think that's what they call it. Now, self-sabotage is difficult to catch because it's the consequences does not seem to appear immediately. It kind of creeps up on you, right? So we place lesser value on those things we don't see right away or aware until it starts piling up. And that's usually what happens with self-sabotage. It's not something that hits you like a train right away. It kind of creeps up on you. It's like if you lay Cheetos in my house, hi Bree. If you lay Cheetos in my house and little by little a bag goes away at a time, and you're like, hey Mitchell, you seem like you've been putting on some weight. And I'd be like, what makes you say that? But you see all the Cheetos bags go away, one bag at a time, or starting to you don't see it right away. But let's just say you haven't seen me for a while, and you come back, you're like, holy shit, you definitely put on some weight, Mitchell. And I'm not gonna be offended. I'd be like, call it like it is. All right. But so that's why this episode is called Cleaning Up Your Past, because you got to get rid of a lot of clutter that you have. And think about it. It's the same concept as, you ever clean your room or a place and then out of nowhere, you're like, wait, this was clean 3 days ago. Like, I didn't do that much. How did it pile up so bad? Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it happens in your life. And the worst part is you don't see it. You don't see it right away. And so that's why you don't place higher value onto that. But I'm here to be like, well, get rid of that clutter, okay? Now, cleaning up your past. How do you clean up your past, right? Now, by cleaning up your past, I do have a slide. I wouldn't say it's directly related, but it allows you to be the person that you could potentially be, okay? And I learned this from Julian himself. I really like his philosophy, the way he thinks. So, and it aligns with what I believe in too, as well. But hear me out. So the slide is called Fun, Carefree Passion. Fun, Carefree Passion. Now, everyone likes to have fun and have a good time. Everybody. I don't know a single person that does not like to have a good time, okay? Everybody likes to have a good time. Maybe it's certain people they don't want to have a good time with, but everybody enjoys a good time, okay? Now, while doing so, everyone also likes to feel free, okay? No one likes to be trapped. Think about trapping an animal, trapping yourself. Think of the quarantine. Look at how bad it was. How many breakups do you know? I'm pretty sure someone, or you know of someone that broke up, whether it's a divorce or a relationship. Now, you put people together, right? Everyone wants to feel free of judgment, free from others and in themselves. So what are you saying to yourself too as well? Like, is there certain things that you say to yourself that you would never have, that you would never even let maybe a friend or your closest friend ever say to you, but you would say to yourself, oh, you piece of shit, you mother, like you ain't worth shit. Like, imagine a friend telling you that. But you could say that to yourself, like, no problem, right? Now, that's something to really consider about. Like, why would you say that to yourself if you would never let anybody say that to you, right? Losing themselves in a process. Now, hear me out. Passion is what drives the burning desire that you have inside, right? So, fun, carefree, and passion. Those are the ingredients. Okay. Now, I learned this from Julian, so check him out. But those are the 3 ingredients for like charisma. This is how you're fun, you're free, you don't really think about things too much. And a lot of people use this as an excuse to be like, oh, I need this to have fun. Say, for example, maybe it's a bar, maybe it's a club, maybe you're going to some sort of event that has alcohol, right? And they like to drink so that they can have fun. They're when you got that liquid courage inside of you, you kind of carefree. You kind of like, let's have a good time, right? But then the only thing that's kind of missing is the passion behind it. You don't really have a passion, right? But when you're having fun, you're carefree and you're passionate about it, people could see that and they could relate to that because it makes you human, and it also makes them feel like human, and also makes them feel like they could relate to you, because that's something that we don't have anymore. Most people go out and they feel like they got to put up this front and they got to be someone that they're not. And like I said earlier on the TikTok, people do that a lot because they feel like putting themselves out there, they won't, if they did, people wouldn't like who they were. So they put up this fake personality. And guess what? Eventually, people could see right through you and they call you fake. And I'm pretty sure you know somebody that has called someone fake before. It's because you're like, oh, this person says this, and then they act on this. Or they always preach about this, and they mean nothing when it comes down to like the action, right? Someone that says they will do something, and then they're like, oh, but they end up not doing it. It's like, oh, that person's fake. So having fun, carefree, passion. An example is, I don't know, at a gym. I love dancing. That's my form of cardio. I don't like being on a treadmill. So I have a lot of fun. I usually have a lot of fun, especially when I'm dancing. I don't care if I'm dancing the same song over and over and over. It's not there. I'm not there for them. I'm there for myself. And I'm having a good time. I'm having a lot of fun. I love to correct myself too, because it allows me to become better. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm enjoying that process. I'm carefree. I don't care who's there. I don't care. It could be one person. It could be 0. It could be a class coming in, because they do classes over there. And I don't care. I'm just having a good time. And then I have passion. I'm truly passionate about it. And when you have those 3 ingredients and you just love what you do it so well that, so I encourage you to do this too. Do something so well, something that's simple, right? That might look difficult to a lot of people. Maybe it's art, and do it so well that that they cannot take their eyes off of you. But it comes from a very genuine place because you love it and you're not looking for validation. But there will be times where someone would walk up to you, or maybe you're drawing or something, and be like, wow, like you're a really good painter or whatever, or you play a really good instrument really well, or you play a sport really well, and they will compliment you on that. And that's the type of energy that you're putting out, that you're not seeking it, you're not trying to pursue it, but you're naturally attracting it into your life. I hope that makes a little bit more sense. You're not out there putting yourself out there so that they could see you, so that you could get the recognition. Okay, because I feel like most people do that nowadays, because they're like, oh, I need to be famous, I need to do this, I need to do that. But how often do you get people that could just be themselves? That's someone that you could just, and you don't really know them too well, but you want to get to know them because they have that certain type of energy. So having those 3 ingredients: fun, carefree, passion. You're passionate about something. Okay. And I spoke about charisma before, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but charisma without character is basically, you're a fraud, right? Because if you're all charismatic, all you do is know what to say to make them feel good about themselves, but deep down you don't really mean what you say, but it's just something that you rehearse so much that you faked it, but you don't even believe in it, then it reveals who you are eventually. Because then I'm pretty sure you heard this term like, oh, their true colors are coming out, right? And it's because they were putting up this front, but now it's like eventually people can only hide themselves for so long until who they are becomes revealed, right? And that's why it's, look, be wherever you're at and wherever you want to be, look at that, and then pursue it for yourself, so that you naturally just attract those type of people in your life, and you're not seeking validation. People will validate you. People will let you know, wow, like you're just an amazing artist, or like I love the way you sing, or whatever that you do great. Like pick something, be amazing at it, and it's supposed to fulfill you. Okay, it's supposed to fulfill you. Now let's see. Julian said, okay, so okay, so he talked about where there was charisma and the three ingredients. Now the whole dance like no one's looking, dance like no one's watching you, or something like that. Like that's the type of carefree and passion that you're supposed to have when you're doing something. And he says, and I'm pretty sure you heard this with the whole, oh, don't be the dancing monkey, right? The person that entertains. Yeah, absolutely. You want to do that, but you're doing it for yourself. You learn to press your own buttons, meaning you learn how to be happy genuinely. Because at the end of the day, what happens is whatever you feel, the other person feels. So if you're smiling and you're having a great time and you're just like, hey, yo, I don't know what it is, but I really want a Slurpee. Do you want a Slurpee? And it's up to you. But because they're so like it could be something so simple, like, hey, I don't know, I just want to go swimming right now. Like I can't wait. I just want to do something. And if you're passionate about it and you want to do it, as long as it's not like stupid, right? Or like risky, and you're passionate about it, what you feel is what they will feel. Now, whether or not they agree with it or not, that's up to them. But you're not looking to seek for their validation. You're doing it for yourself. But of course, you want to be considerate too, right? You wouldn't just randomly do something without they're like, yeah, I'm totally not interested in that at all. But be considerate, but at the same time, you could be yourself and become better than you are. Okay, so pursue all that you want. Pursue all that you want, but be grateful for where you're at. So wherever you're at in life right now, wherever you're at in life, just know that you could always become better. Okay, whether it's maybe in your speech, maybe it's the way you treat people, maybe it's your emotional instability that you have, whatever it may be. In that sense, you could always become better. And even to this day, like I would even say, maybe compared to even last year, my emotional resilience, like I learned to understand like why people say certain things because out of anger. And there will be some times where I feel like I want to say something, but I kind of bite my tongue a little bit and be like, that's probably not the best approach right now, because what I say is not going to encourage a solution in this already semi-heated argument, right? And it's not about, I don't even need to be the bigger person. It's just more like, I really don't want to deal with drama and it's not worth it. So I just want to go away from it. And here's also a big thing too. If you're encouraged and you strive for drama, that's life telling you that that's what's driving you, that's what you thrive off of, and that's what you are. Then be careful with that too, because if you're a person that just loves drama, right, just wants to what happened, what's the juicy news, like what did he say and she said, like, then are you really paying attention to yourself? Or are you more like, we do more to understand like what happened? We know more about what happened to Kanye West than we do about what ourselves, or who he's dating, or what kind of house he bought and whatever, right? And these are certain things that I hear from people. I don't actively search for it unless it's like relationship related, right? I found out that he bought a house next to Kim K, and I was like, why? And then that was a good topic. But anyways, we know more about other people's business than we know about ourselves, because it's easier to talk about other people. It's more embarrassing. It's like, who wants to face their own shadows? Who wants to do that? But the only way to become better is to do that. And there's no other way around it. There really isn't. There's no shortcuts. There's no tips and tricks. And maybe those tips and tricks might work for a while. It's attainable. You might get some results, but it's not sustainable. So you got to really put in the work if you really want to become more than you are, and you want to be consistent, and you want to sustain that. Okay. So don't let those little attainments. I'm sorry, Hero was eating. It's okay. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. But like, just because you have like some success here and there, it don't mean that you're done. Okay. A lot of people fall into the trap like that. Oh, I finally get it. I get it now. I'm a professional. No, you're not. Shut up. Sit down. Relax. Like, you ain't no shit yet. All right. I even say that to myself. So, damn, I get it. I get excited and I'm like, yo, Mitchell, just chill. Just chill. All right. I'm like, all right, Mitchell. So yeah, I do talk to myself sometimes. Matter of fact, a lot of times. All right. So anyways, what you feel is how the other person feel. You got to let go first, because if you haven't, you're going to have a really difficult time being good company for other people. And if you're always projecting like anger, frustration, you don't seem to trust the world, the government's against you, all men suck, right? No one's to be trusted. Well, guess what? You're going to go through life operating from that. And of course, you're not going to get anyone good. Of course, because you haven't even allowed it. So I'm going to tell you this. In order to get love, you have to give love first. That's it. You have to give love. Oh, but what if what if I put out love and they betray it, right? Maybe they cheat on you or whatever. Well, guess what? You just gave it to the wrong person. It doesn't mean that there is not a right person out there. But have you done the necessary work to even be at that level, to attain that level of that person? Maybe it's loyalty. You want someone that is truly loyal, that have similar goals and similar values. They value communication, they value trust, and this loyalty, and they have integrity. They say what they mean. That's fucking rare. Okay? And if you're not there yourself, what makes you think that person wants to stay with you, even if you luckily attract them into your life? They're not going to stay. They're not going to stay because you're not even there yet. Okay? So it takes time. It takes work. It takes a lot of resilience, emotional resilience, and emotional regulation. You got to regulate yourself. You got to understand, right? So, let's see. So, last bullet point on this is, progress. Little 1%. 1% is a lot if you think about it, right? 1% a day. What, you're gonna get through that in 3.5 months, or less than 3.5 months? That's pretty quick, right? 1% a day. That's a lot. But people don't see it like that. They see it like, oh, it takes time. Everything good takes time. Okay. Now, go to a party and check out people. So I explained that earlier. It's like, go to a Starbucks, go to a Target, go to a supermarket. Observe people. When you observe people, you can see in that third person perspective. Like, go out there and really, I want you guys to go out and ask yourself this question when you go out. When you see a couple, ask yourself, are they in a happy relationship, or is one person settling, or both settling because they feel like they're stuck? Okay, good relationship doesn't happen in a day or so. No. And it takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of understanding that person. And also, you also have to understand how men and women, they operate differently too, right? So you have to understand, because I don't know if you guys aren't familiar with certain work, like the no contact rule, right? Has anyone ever heard of no contact? Compromise is the key. Yeah. Has anyone ever heard of no contact? Yes. Okay. So perfect. So let me explain. So there's a lot of coaches out there that says you use no contact so that you could get their attention. You could get their attention. That's my rule. Okay. Right. But here's the intention behind it that I feel like it's wrong, because people use no contact rule to get the other. That's a form of manipulation, right? Now, if the reason is like, if your reason behind the no contact is like, well, I'm not gonna give you time. Like, I've tried to talk to you, I've tried to communicate with you, and you don't want my time because for whatever reason, maybe you're not interested, maybe you lost love, whatever it is, then I'm not going to give you my time anymore. because why would I continue to give you my time? The one thing I could never get back if you don't even reciprocate or value it at all. So it's more of a philosophy. It's how you approach it. And I feel like with no contact rule, the reason why it doesn't work for so many people is because they use it as this rule, this set of rule where you have to do this, and then yeah, it gets the other person to want to come back to you. But guess what? Once they come back, they act all dopey and stuff, and they don't know how to act. But it's like, no, I'm giving you my time. You don't want it. I'm not going to talk to you. It's just, why would I spend my time? Like, I have plenty of other things that I need to do, but it's not coming from a very passive aggressive way, nor any of that. There's a limit to that. Don't keep them away. So also with no contact, some people don't know how to use it properly too, right? It's like, well, okay, well, they contacted you back. So the point of no contact is so that when they contact you, you talk to them. You talk to them. But you're not going to continue to give you your time, your valuable time that you never get back, to a person that doesn't value it or reciprocate. But then when they do come back, they're like, oh no, I was told that I should never contact them, like make them wait even more. And guess what? Well, if you ignore them, that's the best way of losing them, because they're gonna find out like, oh, this person just really don't care, so I need to move on. And sometimes they might get lucky. They might get lucky and be like, wow, this person is very persistent, even after I don't contact them anymore. And they keep persisting, right? It makes you feel good, but it doesn't really solve anything, right? And that's why a lot of people say no contact rule works, and also it doesn't work. But if you approach it in a philosophy of, why am I going to give you my time? The best negotiating position is to walk away and mean it. So it's like, hey, look, I like you, and you know, she doesn't like me, all right? I like you, but you want to be friends, and I don't want to be friends. I have friends, okay? I like you romantically, and I don't want that. And you know, let me know if you do change your mind. You have my number. Give me a call. And that's it. And I just walk away, and guess what? You would never hear from me ever again. Because why? I value myself. That's not the terms of agreement that I want. I'm not saying this is a transactional thing, but I'm saying that it's, look, you're telling me something that I can't agree with, so I have to walk away from it. That's not something that I want. And if you want that with somebody else that you're more interested in, go for it. But if you don't find anyone better, you know what? You got my number. You got my number. And then we can have dinner. We can have a great time. Okay, so that's my last time. I'm out. But it's not like, hey, F you. You would never find anyone better than me. Like, I'm like, why would you ever say that? That's someone that has zero value in themselves, that don't believe in themselves, that they need to tell somebody, right? True value, true whatever you want to call alpha male, right? Like, you know your own value. You walk away from it. They would see it. And if they don't, somebody else will. And that's okay, because you know you're the shit. And you can walk away from it because you have values, right? So anyways, sorry, got a little sidetracked with the no contact, but this is why there's not a tactic. These aren't tips and tricks, but these are a philosophy that you go by. Why would you spend time with somebody that does not reciprocate? So yeah, it's meaning to you. All right. So the reason why cleaning up your past and being in this mindset of fun, carefree passion, this is why it's so attractive. I see you traveling now. I see you traveling here, Cheeky. See you traveling over here. Okay, so the reason why this is so attractive is because when you're fun, you're carefree, and you're passionate about the things that you like to do, and you're just look, success can mean anything to anyone, right? Success to one person could be like, I want to be a billionaire. I want to have all the money in the world so I can buy all the nicest things, nicest gadgets, the latest whatever, right? And to other people, success is being that person that they want to be, whether it's, and I heard this from Earl Nightingale, and I'm quoting him, if I remember correctly. Give me a sec. Success is a progressive realization of a worthy ideal, meaning that success is the lunch lady that wants to be the best lunch lady there is, or a mother that wants to be the best mother for their kids because that's what they want to be. I haven't read it yet. Give me a second. But that's success. That's what success means to you. That's something that you want to do, and you got to do it. and you continue to do it, and that's what success is, right? So success to me is I want to be able to get someone out of a situation, whether it's in a relationship or it's something that they're feeling so down that they'd be like, what's life worth even living for? This sucks. I don't want to live anymore. Or, you know what? Like, I would never have someone that wants to be with a guy like me or whatever. And I'd be like, look, hear me out, dog. I was like that. No, you're not, Mitchell. No, trust me, I was. I was this short, chubby. When I was in 8th grade, what age is 11? No, 12, 13. All right. I was 4'11. Okay. I'm not that tall today, but I was 4'11. Okay. How do you think that made me feel when I went into high school? Okay. Everyone called me Buddha. Okay. So, yes, Mitchell has dealt with a lot of insecurities in the past, but it no longer bothers me because I had to learn to let that shit go. Okay. Cleaning up my past. And that's what I did. I was like, you know what, Mitchell, you got a mouth. You got a mouth. You got some words in it. You could put it together, right? Mix some ingredients in that. Use it up, deliver it, and see if it sticks to the wall. And if it does, great, right? Okay, Chevrolet, you just stayed. All right. It's like Superman from one platform to another. All right. I wish I did. What? Don't they keep? Don't. All right. And Chevrolet, I think you put yourself out there like that. I never said that. I never said that. All right. Anyways, let me go on. Fun, carefree, passion. All right. The reason why is because when you get to be yourself and they like that about you, and guess what? It rubs off on them. It rubs off on them. Yeah, that's what I wrote. It rubs off on them. Okay, it makes them feel good about themselves. Okay. I'm trying to keep it. It makes them feel good, so they're happy. They want to be. Fuck. All right, Mitchell's mind's been All right, let me see if I could try it one more time. It rubs off on them and makes them feel good about themselves. It's because it's relatable. All right, hold up. All right, you guys know what I mean. All right, I'm trying. They feel good about themselves being around you because you have good energy. Okay, you're this type of person that has good time, fun, carefree, passion. Right? It's like, who wouldn't want to be around someone that can make you laugh, make you have a good time? Right? It's like, why wouldn't you want to? Okay, if that's the guy that you're with, right? He cares about you. He listens to you. He hears your problems. When something doesn't when something doesn't go your way, he's there. He's there to support you. He wants to make sure that you're good. But also at the same time, he's a little spontaneous sometimes, right? He's a little spontaneous. Hey, guess what we're doing? What? I don't know, but we're going to do something, right? And then he just takes you out. Go somewhere. Oh, I got to do this. No, stop. Look, just put this on. It's only going to take an hour. I don't know what we're doing, but we're going to have a good time. But I have an idea, okay? Just because I don't even know. You won't know for sure, okay? So let's just go out and have a good time, right? And the reason why is because it's like, well, there's variety. Another one of the 6 basic human needs, right? Love and connection being one of them. Variety, right? Growth, right? And there's so many things that we need in our life. And so that's why if there's a certain area that you're lacking in your life, you want to make sure you want to tackle that and make sure that you're working towards that. Okay, at least set an aim, because if you don't have an aim, or you don't have any direction, any direction you take will take you there. Okay, excuse me. I don't know if it's something that I ate. I'm just burping. Anyways, that's why it's attractive. People like having a good time, and if they could relate having a good time with you, well, guess what? They're gonna be like, well, that person is fun. Why? Because that person makes me feel this way whenever I'm around this person. And that's cool. I like that. I like that energy. Just let it out. Yeah. You know what? If I need a fart, I'll let it be known. Okay. I'm like, all right. But so far I don't have to fart, nor do I have to burp right now. All right. Okay. And here's another reason why. Here's another reason why it is so damn attractive. Do that too. I will. But if it smells bad, I'm gonna be like, hold on, I need to air it out. All right. All right. Because here's the reason why. Okay. Because rarely do you ever see anyone excited about anything anymore, or do they have anything that they're excited for? When was the last time you had a conversation with someone and they had zero things? Like they had zero drive. They didn't want to do anything. They just want to live the way they live. And you're like, oh, that's cool on you, but I'm not gonna be a part of that. Right? Um, and it's not to be like shallow or judgmental, but it's like, well, okay, if you like being healthy and you like going to the gym, or you like doing things that's, good for you, and they don't, and they just like smoking, they like drinking, they like, just doing those type of things, right? And you're just like, yeah, that's just not my vibe. I personally don't align with that. We don't really have much in common, so naturally it just pushes you away from that person. But you're like, yeah, do whatever you gotta do, it's all good. But that's not me. I'm not gonna be a part of that. And that's why it's like, so often you hear people that doesn't have any enthusiasm about life, that sees life as like, this is just another day. Okay, yeah, well, what makes you think if I were to be in your life that there's going to be more excitement if you're not even excited about life? So that's a big one. Who's your best friend? I am short, cutie, and terrible. Uh-oh, what's this terribleness? Who's your best friend? Who's your best friend? And you know what? And this is what I like about, she's been the blah, no enthusiasm in her. Okay, let me ask you this, Joe. Is this something that you really want to, like, does this best friend of yours, are you like, yeah, I can't wait to see you, right? And maybe you are, but deep down, you're kind of like, yo, snap out of it, bitch. Do something with your life. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call your friend a bitch. It came out naturally, okay? But you probably say that to him or her, right? You probably say that. You like, let's do something exciting, or you want to fix something. You probably like, yo, do something. Like, I get you weren't like this before, or something inside of you. You're like, I need to do something for this person. And then the more you try, the less likely they want to do it, because they're like, they lack enthusiasm. They don't really want to do anything. Nah, I don't want to do it. Yeah, you say all that, thinking that that person will change, and it never has. So what makes you think if you drag this person to this lake, they might just drown just because they want you to leave them alone? Okay, they're not gonna drink from that water. I can't even talk. They can't even drink from that water. Okay, that lake or whatever. They would be like, yo, Joe, you brought me here too many. I'm just gonna drown myself now. I'm just gonna stick my face and not get up. Yeah, that might happen. Right? So, and that's why you have to, I know it sucks because I was like that. I was like that person. I see good friends of mine, and I want to pursue something more than where I'm at right now. That's what I want to do. I want to help people. I want to become great at it, right? So I'm aiming up. That's my goal. But I also understand that there are some people that don't want to aim up, and that's okay. And that's them. And it's kind of, I have to be okay with that. I have to be like, okay, that's where they want to aim. Whether it's straight or aiming down, that's their choice, that's their life. I can't do it. What you can do, and it's your responsibility, is if you have the resources, let them know. Let them know. Hey, I have a friend, or I know somebody, or this is what I know. This is what you should do because I know this works. And then you let them know. And if they don't want to bite on that, there's nothing you can do. Actually, she led herself back into a miserable life with her boyfriend, I'm assuming. Okay. So some people, they choose to want to go back, and but then now that's up to you. Do you want to be around that? Do you want to be around your best friend that is constantly wanting to live this miserable life, like going back to an abusive relationship, right? And that's what they want, but then they keep coming back to you for that problem? That's your choice. Look, I told you not to go back, and I get it. I'm your friend, but I've been constantly telling you, and you're coming to me and you're pulling my energy away because hey, I got work too. And when I go to work, I come back home, I want to have a good time. And every time I'm trying to have a good time, you're not allowing that because you keep telling me that your boyfriend keeps punching you in the face. And I don't want to hear it because you're my friend. And you don't want to do anything about it. So until you do something about it, you tell me otherwise, all right? Because other than that, I'm not gonna be around it because it's drawing my shit down. Okay? It's drawing me down. But it's up to you. That's really up to you. I don't tell you what to do, but you got to protect yourself. You got to protect yourself sometimes. And it's how much you're willing to give. Okay? All right. So now, the reason why it's attractive, going back, this is how you create your life and lifestyle because happiness does not happen by chance. It happens by choice. You have to choose. Okay? And there was a TikTok, I think I did sometime last week, where they asked me like how do you always become so much like how do you find yourself always happy? And this is me. This anyone that knows me, this is how I am. This is how I am. Maybe if you know me a little bit more, I might get a little bit more explicit. um yeah, but this is generally who I am. This is how I talk. This is how I communicate. And I created this. And people that don't want Mitchell, you talk to them fast. I don't like the way you talk. All right, then we don't have to hang. It's all cool. It's all good. There's plenty of people in this world. There's someone that's going to like me, and that's okay. That person's not you, and I hope you find better people that aligns with you. Maybe it's because I'm happy, and they align better with certain people that's maybe not as happy, right? Or maybe that's happy but not that excited about life. So there's certain things that don't align with people, and that's okay. And you have to be okay with that. And so I also learned to not take things personal. When you don't take things personal, it no longer bothers you. It's not that I don't care. I'm just indifferent about it. I'm just indifferent. It's like, well, all right, if you don't want to be around me, that's okay. That's okay. But if you ever want to come back, I still have a lot of food, right? Hope you like pork. Hope you like ribs because we have a lot of that too over here. But if you don't want to hang out, that's okay. And I don't take any. There's no hostility. Okay. There's no tension. But if I removed you from my life, it means something. It means that something along the way I just cannot tolerate anymore. And yes, there were some people in my life that I had to remove. And so that's why I find myself, and I still question it till this day sometimes. I'm like, did I do the right thing? Is that the wrong choice, Mitchell? Is it like, could you have, maybe you were a little too harsh, Mitchell? But then I look back and be like, well, Mitchell, during the time from that day that you decided to sever that relationship, whatever it is your life better? Is your life less miserable? Because Jordan Peterson said this. He's said something along the lines of this, where you are not obligated to stay with someone that makes your life miserable. You are not obligated for that. Just because they want you around, it doesn't mean you have to stay. You just gotta let them know. Like, look, stop talking to me like that. I don't appreciate that. The way you keep talking to me, it's disrespectful. When was the last time I disrespected you? And if I did say anything that disrespected you, let me know, and then I'll stop saying it. I will. Like, hey, then I know how to, say certain things, because there's certain things that people would get offended by, right? And I learned to kind of hold my tongue back when it comes to that. So I have a good calibration of people, but that's just me. That took time to understand, like, to read the crowd, like, ooh, probably shouldn't say that. Let's see. Yeah, surround yourself with negativity. Yeah, I don't want that. I want, and that's why it's so much easier for me to bounce back up when things aren't good. Because when I'm not feeling well, I'm only a phone call away, or I'm a book away, or I'm an audio book away, or I could Google something, or I listen to music, or I dance. Like, things not to distract me, but to pull me out of that state so that I could think about why I was in that state. Like, because when I'm angry about certain things, just like you and I, we're human. And when I get angry about certain things, it's difficult to think. So I need something to kind of pull me out of that for the meantime, so that I could think back, why was I so upset? Why? Yeah. So, creating a life and lifestyle. And this is why it is important to find something that draws you in, right? And I talked about motivation, and how motivation is so much of this push energy that requires a lot of work. And when you're thinking about it, a lot of people they think like motivation is number one, and it's a great jump start for a lot of things. But if it's not something that you're truly like emotionally compelling, I'm talking about compelling, something that pulls you in, something that you think about the first thing in the morning, and it keeps you up late at night. Like, what are those things? And if you don't have it, try things out, trial and error. Like, there's going to be something that you will like, but you don't know what you don't know, so you got to explore a little bit. And I didn't know that I wanted to be a life coach. I really didn't. The pandemic happened, and I was like, I think I'm gonna go crazy if I don't say something. And I started learning these things, and I was like, well, I think these are valuable information that a lot of people could use, because we don't talk about mental health, and we don't talk about how there's certain ways on approaching a relationship, and this might help people. And this is where I'm at, and this is how it's going to be, right? Everything that I do is towards this. So something that's emotionally compelling, that draws you in, right? Because motivation, you can only push so much until you get tired. And once you get tired, well, guess what? You're gonna feel burnt out. You're not gonna want to do it no more. It's gonna take the fun away from that process, and you're not going to be enthusiastic about it. And then what? Then it starts to kind of like bleed into other areas of your life, where you're starting to lose enthusiasm for work, maybe in your partner too, because you lack certain things. And if you can't give what you don't have, and if you don't have excitement in your life, you're not going to be great company for other people. You're going to be company, but they're not going to celebrate you. They're going to be like, he's just there. Mitchell's just there. It's okay whether he's there or not. I personally go where I'm tolerated. I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. I'm sorry, that went really. Let me try that again. I go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. Okay. If there's a party and no one invited me on that party, well, guess what? That's okay. Because I love my own company. I love that I could be at home and just pick up a book and just kind of just fall in love with that book and just understanding it. And then I get an outlet. I get to talk to you guys. I get to share it. There's certain things, right? And then every now and then I'm like, I want to dance. I want to move my feet because my feet's itchy. So I move a little bit, right? So I have ways to have fun. What you feel? Okay, hold on. You said something. Okay. Your girlfriend is lucky to have you. This world needs more men like you. And thank you for that, Joe. And the thing is, I was not this type of guy before, and I was a guy that would just get angry. And so this is how I know this could be taught. You can learn it, and it's because I had a really good coach. And I have certain goals for what I'm doing, right? And once I become successful in that, I want to return that favor to that coach. He doesn't know who I am yet. Okay. He doesn't know. But, yeah, anyways, it takes a lot of inner work to really think about, like, cause I no longer go, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe you call it old age, whatever it is. I don't like going clubbing anymore, but does it mean I can't? Absolutely not. Doesn't mean I can't go on a dance floor and have a great time. No, I know how to do that, but I much rather like to be at home, learning a little bit more about myself, because that's where my true happiness comes from. But when I go out and I go out with my friends, I go out because I want to have a good time, because I know I'm at a good place, not because I need an escape. So I go out and we have a great time. Why? Because we're great company for each other, and nobody could take that away from us. The reason why is because if I'm there and we're not having a good time, well, guess what? There's going to be another party somewhere else. Okay? If someone wants to start some shit, hey, yo, my bad. Hey, let me buy you a drink. My bad, man. I didn't mean to bump into you like that. It's on me. It's on me, man. Shit, I should have known where I was going. Shit, where the fuck? I had glasses on too. I didn't. Come on, man. What you like? AMF? All right, man. All right. Let me get him the AMF so that he don't punch me in my face. Here you go, bro. Here you go. Here you go. Yeah, man. Cheers. 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 Yeah. And then he will never see me again. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out into another great time somewhere else. Okay. Maybe he's buying a burrito somewhere. I don't know. Because after the club, I like a burrito. Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on. Cleaning up your past. Now, as you're cleaning up your past, it's easy to get stuck in certain areas of your life. And what I mean by that is, if you haven't done the necessary work to clean up your past, then you're going to try to find ways to find a solution that's not really a solution, but is more of a band-aid, just to kind of cover it up. It's not like just because you cover it up. I wouldn't even say the band-aid example isn't the best example, because when you put a band-aid, your skin kind of heals itself. Like when you put on this band-aid, it's that thing doesn't just heal itself. You're just covering it. Okay. So it's kind of like, all right, here's a good example. There's mold, there's paint, bah, right? And you just like, yeah, I don't see mold anymore, but yeah, the mold's still there, right? You can still breathe it, all that. Anyways, a lot of people try to find solutions in things that they think is going to make them happier, where happiness happens from outside in, okay? And when you're in a relationship or you're thinking about getting into a relationship, you should not lose yourself in a relationship. And hear me out with this when I say this. When you're in a relationship, you should feel more of yourself, okay? You should feel more of yourself. And they should allow you to be who you are. They shouldn't try to change you. They should love you for who you are. Now, if you inspire to want to become better, do that on your own, or do it together. Do it as a couple. And the reason why is because love is allowing. You're allowing them to come and go as they please. You're not forcing them. You're gently leading, if anything, like, hey, babe, this is a good book that I really like, and maybe you'd be interested in that. And if they are, great. And if they're not, that's okay, because that's your interest. Okay, you can't force another person into something that you like. Now, if they sharing some sort of thing like, hey, I really like what you did over there, like, yeah, it looks sexy on you, or whatever, like whatever you just learned, right? And yeah, like that could be encouragement. They don't need to read that book to support you, but they'd be like, no, I like it. I think it's good for you. I really think it's good for you, right? Now, so you shouldn't lose yourself in a relationship, nor does a relationship define who you are. And I feel like I've lost a lot of friends because there were times where they get into a relationship and they become different people. And I'm like, we used to hang out, and I get it. You have a girlfriend now, or you whatever. But now it's like when I call you, you become hostile, or you're upset, and you're trying to take things out on me. I'm like, yo, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And then it's like they become this totally different person. And it's like, well, they started to lose themselves in that relationship, and they're not happy because something along the way, the enthusiasm went down, the excitement went down, the honeymoon phase is no longer there. And guess what? They don't know how to operate. And so that's when life pressures them. So when I call them and I'll be like, hey, yo, what's up? How's it going? Man, I can't talk right now, man. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, okay, all right. Hey, yo, hope everything's all right, man. Like, hey, yo, give me a call if you need to talk. Like, and then when you try to talk to them, it feels like they can't even be themselves because their partner's there, or their girlfriend or whatever's there. And it's like, okay, then you're trapped. Then you're just, then you're a totally different okay, I'm gonna politely remove myself from this situation. And you shouldn't lose yourself in a relationship, nor should you have the relationship define who you are. Okay, you define who you are. But if you don't know who you are, you have to find that. You have to find that. Okay, what are your values? What do you cherish? What is important to you? What are your core values, right? That's why it's so important. Like, people that don't even know the core values, like my core value is loyalty. communication. Like, talk to me. If something's bothering you, talk to me, right? And if something's bothering me, I'll let you know too. Okay, but you also have to understand that I'm a guy. I'm not just gonna keep bombarding you with certain things. But if you don't think I'm communicating enough to you, or you don't think that I'm not speaking to you enough, like, let me know. Let me know. Because otherwise I'm just gonna take it like you're just going to do your own thing. And if that's how we want it, then that's how we're gonna operate, right? So anyways, you don't get into the relationship thinking that it's going to solve a problem. You don't lose yourself in a relationship, and you shouldn't define that. Relationship doesn't define you. Okay, you define who you are, and you have to find out who you are first if you don't know that. Right now, the one thing I always try to encourage people is you're supposed to be working towards something becoming more than you are, while still be grateful for all that you got. But like I said, not everyone wants to aim up, and some wants to aim straight or aim down, and that's their choice, and I have to respect that. And that might actually be the best thing for them, because otherwise I'm gonna have some sort of resentment, and I'm trying to help them out. I'm trying to make them be better, but they're not ready for that. They don't want to be ready. And like, has there ever been a time where someone told you something but it never registered, and then you're like, years later, you're like, wow, that's what they meant? And it's because where you were at in life, you did not have the cognitive, right? Like, you just couldn't process it, and then a few years later you're like, wow, that makes so much sense. And a good example is like maybe music. When you were younger, you're like, have you ever listened to a song, you're like, yeah, that's a good song, and then you hear it years later, you're like, holy shit, that was a nasty ass song. I wouldn't let my kids listen to that, but I was bumping that shit left and right. Okay, that's an example. Okay, more fun example. But like I said, it's still a choice. You gotta allow them for them to be who they are. You just show them the resources. Okay. The way you can lose yourself in a relationship is when you lose a sense of reality, and it does not align with your identity. What I mean by that is you don't have any true identity. And an example is, okay, I like this example because they used it in Julian's example. Like, okay, if your identity is, let's just say you have black hair, okay, or whatever hair color you have. If someone walks up to you and be like, I hate your blue hair, or I hate the hat that you're wearing right now, you're like, what are you talking about? I'm not even wearing a hat. Yeah, hate it. I freaking hate that hat, that invisible hat, or whatever, right? You're like, okay, this person's crazy because they don't know what they're talking about, right? And it's because your identity, and like, you know that I am not wearing a hat. So whatever, you're just crazy for even thinking I'm wearing a hat. So you're just gonna laugh it off. Or a random kid runs up to you and be like, ah, fuck you. And then he runs away. Or fuck you, you suck. And then he runs away. You're just gonna, is it gonna bother you? Probably not. You'd be like, okay, that was kind of funny. Or maybe you weren't in the best mood and he said something and it's like, wow, what a little asshole. But it's not gonna like completely ruin your day. It's because your identity of who you are, you already know that I'm not wearing a hat, and no, my hair is not blue, so you're just crazy. But then when you start losing that sense of identity, when someone says certain things that's kind of like semi partially true, but you don't really believe in yourself, it's kind of like looking over to your friend for that answer to make sure your answer matches, or that's the correct answer that you chose, but you need reassurance to see if they got the right answer as a kid, right? And you're looking over, and you're like, okay, then you feel a little bit better about yourself. But what happens when you do this enough for yourself and you start aligning yourself, like, I just gotta trust my own answer, and I just gotta believe that this is the right answer. And if it's not the right answer, well, you know what? I'm going to continue to do it until I get better at believing in myself. And that's how you actually learn to press your own buttons. That's how you learn to be a competent and confident person into your own choices. So when you learn to believe in that your own choices is the right choice, no one else can tell you you are wrong, because you either learn from it, from your own mistakes, or you're like, wow, I'm so grateful that I listen to myself, because there's too many times. How many times have you ever heard or listened or got advice from somebody where you're like, I wish I didn't. I wish I could have just trusted myself. And it's because you didn't trust yourself. And it's because you haven't done enough work. You haven't practiced it enough. So repetition is a mother of skill, and that's what Coach Corey Wayne's always talk about. So repetition, repetition. You got to keep doing it until you get so comfortable of listening to your own voice, like I can do this. And it takes time because you're going to mess up, but that should not stop you from believing in your own choices. Just like meeting a new guy or meeting a new girl, right? Like, hey, do you like them? Hey, is there something that I missed? Like, why can't you be that person that detects that needs another person to kind of look through it? Why can't you be that person? And if you messed up, well, guess what? You learn from that. Okay, what were some of the red flags? What were some of the things that they threw out that I missed? And how could I have missed that? Like, wow, learn it from yourself. That's how you internalize things, and that's how you become more confident and competent. All right. And lastly, oh, this, I don't have a title for this, but you're only as good as what people think of me. This too many times where we have other people's perceptions on how they view us, like we need them to like us. So I'm gonna put up this fake thing of who I am, so that they will like me. It's like, no, like I'm going to be me, and I'm only going to be better. And if they don't like me for where I'm at, that's okay. I'd rather do this alone and believe in myself that I could get into a much better place. It's going to take time. I know, because there's no shortcuts in life. There isn't. And I know it's going to take time. But as I get better at it and I start encouraging myself and I start filling in those knowledge gaps, growing your reserve of knowledge, that's how you become better, right? And then you no longer need that validation from other people from the outside to validate you. If anything, they just going to validate you, like, damn, like, okay, this person knows what they're talking about. And if there's an area that you kind of suck in, right? Like there was a question that I really couldn't answer. I really couldn't answer that question. I was like, I wish I could answer that, and I couldn't. But I'm not gonna give false information. I'm not gonna give something that I have zero knowledge about. I really didn't know. But that allowed me to grow as a person, and that's how people could relate to that, because no one starts out good. Like, I sucked. Dancing sucked. Okay, speaking live, I sucked. Okay, I didn't have anything. I didn't know what I was talking about before. None of this was here, right? I didn't have a mic before. I literally was just talking in front of a camera. And little by little, you start just growing, and that's how you become better. Okay, so happiness, things that you're confident on, do it for yourself. You know you're not good, but that's okay. You're gonna work towards that. So you're not as good as what other people think of you. You are as good as what you think about yourself. And if you believe that, hey, I need to become better, you're going to be better. But you have to align yourself with the right mindset, because that little millimeter shift of thinking where I'm good, I'm not that great, but I know if I give myself some time and some education, and I put in some time and work, I would be better, versus I'm not shit. Like that's that mindset, that little shift that a lot of people fall victim to, and they let themselves go. And that's how you kind of like that's how it kind of permeates through all areas of their life, right? And they yeah, and they latch onto that one thing that they're good at, and that's their identity. Like, no, like there's more to that in life. But you got to dive deep. Okay, I have a few more minutes. Okay, you got to dive deep into understanding why those are the limiting beliefs that you have. You got to dive deep into those limiting beliefs. Ask yourself these questions, right? Ask yourself questions and answer them truthfully. And what I mean by that is, when you ask yourself these type of questions, and from Julian, I learned this from him. He was like, don't give me the right answer or the correct answer. Give me the real answer. Give me the real answer. Like, how did it make you feel when that person humiliated you back in 3rd grade? And is that part of the reason why you don't want to put yourself out there, because you felt like you've been rejected? And how did that feel? Experience that feeling as a 3rd grader. Don't give me the correct answer. Tell me how you felt during that time. Dive deep into that, and that's how you get out of that situation. because you have to feel it to heal it. And if you're trying to give me the correct answer, that answer is not the right answer. That's the answer that you want to tell everybody because that's what you want them to hear, not what you want to hear for yourself, if that makes any sense. So be honest and truthful. Look, it made me feel stupid. I was humiliated. I thought I was dumb. I really thought I was dumb for even saying stuff like that. Well, what makes you think that you were dumb? Well, because I was put in that situation and I said something stupid, and throughout my entire life, I just felt stupid, and I felt like I couldn't do anything. That's why all my grades sucks, and and then people started saying like because my grade sucks, I wasn't going to amount to anything, and it wasn't until I started doing something that kind of had a snowball effect, and I kind of latched onto that, but I still have a lot of fear of what happened back in third grade because that's kind of what snowballed into where everything's at today. Well, how think about how that made you feel. Bring it up to the surface and feel that emotion, that feeling. Bring it up, and then that's how you can understand it. Well, did it kill you? Did it make you a stronger person? Can you let that go? Can you let that go? And that's a big question. Can you let that go? And if you can't, then there's some sort of resistance holding you back, right? So give the real answer, not the right or the correct answer you want other people to hear. And what's holding you back from doing it? Can you answer that at all? If you can't answer that, then keep trying. And and also a big portion of it is having a good supportive person right next to you. Tell me how you feel, and if you know, and I'll stay here as long as I can, as long as you want me to make sure that you're okay, because that's what a relationship is, right? I want to make sure that you're okay. Something's bothering you. What happened in the past, whether it's your best friend or your relationship. What happened? I'm here for you, man. Or I'm here for you, babe, or whatever. I'm here for you. What happened? Let's help each other out, because I want you to succeed as much as you want me to succeed, because that's what we want for each other. um and why do I need to seek confirmation from others in order to feel better about myself, right? And I'm gonna end it with this. I know I went I went 10 minutes over, but when two question was, when did I start losing trust in myself? And that was a really big question that kind of hit me pretty hard, actually. So if you stayed for as long as you did for this video, congratulations, because you know when did I start losing trust in myself is a really very valuable less like question. Support system is always good to have. It is, and it's having a support is good, but you can't rely on them. You still have to participate in your own rescue. They're there to help you out, but you have to find out what is wrong with you. And once you're aware of it, you have the right people support you. You could get out of it a whole lot easier. But you still have to do your own work. And the question, yeah, it was like, when did I start losing trust in myself? When did I started doubting myself? So go back to a time where you started doubting yourself. I started doubting myself, me personally, when I remember there's this party, and I was a teenager, or maybe like 12, 13, maybe even 14, I forget exactly. I was at this party, and I was like, I found out from some family members that told me, "Hey, that girl likes you." I was like, "Cool, okay, but I'm not really interested in her." Well, she's pretty. I was like, "Okay, but I don't care about her or whatever." And then, long story short, basically, I was given this almost like an ultimatum, where I was forced in this position where if I didn't say anything, that I was told that I wasn't gonna get a ride home, and that was like a very far ride, right? Of course, like I didn't think about it before. I was just thinking I'm not gonna ever go home. I'm not gonna see my mom, and if I don't see my mom, I'm gonna die. That's how I related life, right? And so I did. I went up, but it ended horribly, horribly, horribly. It's humiliating. I was tearing up because I was put in a position where it was one of the worst positions of my life. I was like, why would anyone do that to me? But I was stuck in that situation. They thought it was funny. I didn't think it was. And then I was like, well, that was the moment where I start like not believing in myself. And then so I had to go back to that situation. Like, well, did you die, Mitchell? Like, did it make you feel like you were not gonna live? Yeah, because if I was stuck there and no one's gonna take care of me, who's gonna like? Would anyone know that I'm gone? Like, would mom know? Like, cause like I grew up without a father, so my mom was like the only thing that I have of survival, right? That was my concept of surviving. And I was like, well, that's when I started losing trust. So I had to go back to that. I was like, well, you didn't die. You just had a bad experience, Mitchell. You had a bad experience. Can you move away from that? And is there anything, even like a slight thing that's holding you back from there? And if it is, dive deeper. Follow your trail of whys. Ask yourself why. Why did it make you feel like that? How did and as you dive deep into it, I found out that I realized I was like, look, I was just in a bad position. I was young. It did traumatize me, but I've gotten over a lot of things. But that was the one thing that was holding me back in the past. So that was when I started losing trust in myself. I was like, wow, okay, all right, and I was like, wow, it felt very free to know and understand like what was holding me back. And I let that little part go. Not to say that that thing was the only thing that held me back. There was more, but letting that little weight go made it so much easier to move forward, right? It's like having less weight on your back. And last question is, what feeling do I keep stuffing down? What is the feeling that rises up that I don't like and I keep suppressing it? Whatever that feeling is, you want to listen to those, because those are valuable. Like, those are good indicators. Like, these are, it's like putting your hand on a stove. Like, it's good that you have those senses, because otherwise your hand's gonna cook and you won't know it, right? So it's like, hey, yo, this is letting you know, be aware of this. Hey, yo, your hand's burning. So whatever emotions coming up and whatever you're suppressing down, you want to listen to those. Yeah, I have more. I'm not gonna continue more. I could save it for the next episode. I've went another 15 minutes over. Yeah, but cleaning up the past, there's a lot to it. And if you found this video content of value, please hit the like, let your friends know about it. And if there's anything that that stood out to you today, let me know, because this helps me know that that you liked it, or this helped you in some way, because I love helping. That's kind of like my mission and purpose. It's my focus. And also with purpose. If anyone ever tells you something about whatever you're doing and your purpose, and you think it's your purpose, but like what they say bothers the shit out of you, well, then you really have to ask yourself this question, like, is that really your purpose? Like, if anyone ever told me, Mitchell, you don't know shit about relationships, you don't know shit about whatever, and I'm like, okay, and you should not be a relationship coach because you don't know what you're talking about. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be people like that eventually. Yeah, okay. You don't know what you're talking about, because it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort to, and everybody has their own belief, and that's okay. Hey, maybe they believe that there's, like I said, there's men out there that really believes that women are only to be used for certain things. There's people like that. I don't believe in that. I believe in communicating. There's certain things, because if you just point fingers at women being like this or men being like this, then you're absolving yourself from a lot of problems. You don't really need to solve anything. You just point fingers. It's not my fault, it's them. And you're not solution oriented. So of course, you're just gonna try to do things in your favor. Anyways, there's different views out there, right? But if that's your purpose and that's what you want to do, no one can take that away from you. No one. And you would go fucking broke for that, because that's something that's his burning desire, right? Passion. There's something that you're passionate about. But yeah. Anyways, thank you. Appreciate it. Cleaning the past is a lot of things to work on. Yeah, it is. And that's why I always give the example of, like, look, you keep cleaning up your room, and it's so easy to pile things up. And there's so many little things that you don't really pay attention to that goes on through the day, right? Like, maybe your boss yells at you and you allowed it. And then so the next time you allow your boss, and if they feel like they could just yell at you, they're going to do it again, right? So what you tolerate, you invite more of. right? And so little by little, there's so many little things, and that's why I just want to like let you guys know, hey, what you tolerate, just be really, really be careful what you tolerate. Really be careful what you tolerate. Um, yeah, cleaning up your past. I know there's a lot. I still have a lot that I need to do. So it's gonna take time. It's gonna take some time, but we're already in a much better place than a lot of people already, because you're already here and you want yourself, you want to be better. You want to be better, and this is not easy. Look, this is an episode of Game of Thrones already, right? How long is Game of Thrones? An hour? Yeah, you watch an hour. Yeah, you watched 1.5 episodes of Game of Thrones, but you're here with me, so thank you. It's a process. It is. Yeah. Sometimes when I talk, I lose myself in this. I just go on this tangent. But I'm working to be better at puzzling things. Never watched it. Good. That's why you're here with me. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. So yeah. I think it's time. Do you guys have any episodes, or not episodes, anything that you want me to go over, or maybe in a topic? Because I want to hear from you guys. Like, I get it, you might want me to choose my own topics, but I still want to hear your opinions too, because your opinion matters to me. If it's outrageous, I'll be like, I'm not gonna listen to that. But if it's something that I'm like, oh, okay, that's a good question, I might dive into that. Cleaning up your past. And also, JR, if you're watching this, I know your time zone is different, but cleaning up your past. Thank you for this movie title. This title of this podcast / live. So thank you, appreciate it. Yeah. So no questions, guys. No questions. Cause I'm gonna make some food. I know, Joe. You ate not too long ago. All right. Okay. I give it 30 seconds. I don't know if it lags or not. That's why I'm making food. Okay, cool. All right. Well, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna end the live. I'm still hungry. What do you eat? What you eat? And also, Joe, if you ever hear the name Kiki in here, it's a made up name. It's my made up name. Okay. For a reference of a girl that I'm using for. And if I say if I'm ever going out to get a burrito, it means that I'm just not going to deal with Kiki's bullshit. Oh, chow mein is good. I'm just not gonna deal with Kiki's bullshit right now, because I'm not in the right place. I don't want to yell at Kiki. I want us to have a good relationship. So I'm gonna walk out. I'm gonna go get a burrito, and I'm coming back. So yeah. No, I use Kiki as this made up girlfriend. Because I forgot who named it. Kiki, do you love me? Drake. I think it was Yaku. But yeah. Jolani. Well, thank you. Get some more chow mein. All right, get some more chow mein. Sriracha sauce don't taste the same no more, because apparently they got into this argument of chili. So the people that made sriracha, this is from what I heard, srirachas don't taste the same. Okay, because the distributor of chili was like, no, I'm not gonna give it to you. I'm gonna make my own. And so Sriracha's like, shoot, I gotta find another chili supplier. I don't know, I could be wrong, but it is what I heard. Okay, so let me know if sriracha sauce tastes different. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Oh, JR. Okay, yeah, I'm out. Have a good night, man. Have a good night, guys. I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next episode. All right. Thank you for staying. Appreciate your time.